Buena Boswell O'Shell here with the Boswell Law Firm, and it's time for our weekly Facebook Live on Fridays at 11:30. So if you know anybody that can benefit from the information that I share on these, please share this video. Um, and I appreciate everybody that's done so far and for joining me here and hopefully learning something each week. Um, so as we come into the 4th of July weekend, just everybody be safe, take care of yourselves. We are having unusual surge amounts in COVID-19. I think we're seeing the effects of everybody gathering together at the end of last month for the holiday and the protest actions that were taken downtown. And our beds are showing the hospital beds that is are showing the effects of that. For instance, at the beginning of June, positive patients in surgery, hospital beds was just under 300, right around 300, and right now we are at 1,372. I heard that they're now starting to utilize beds in MD Anderson Cancer Center for COVID patients. So it's just something to be aware of before you go out and you do things outside that may expose you. That we have limited hospital beds. Medical staff are getting sick, and so you may have staff that's working more than they normally would. And so it's kind of up to us to take care of ourselves and make sure that we're being safe. Um, Governor Abbott has now issued a proclamation that we all have to wear masks when we attend anything, any kind of a business in Texas. There's all kinds of exceptions to that. I would encourage you to go and read that if you haven't already. Um, the Supreme Court has also issued another emergency order, and they're extending all the deadlines that have been about to expire through September, or until September at least. So that's kind of the COVID update. So let's talk about when you're getting ready to divorce. What are some things that you can do to start gathering information to help your attorney in regards to property division? So we as attorneys, we can only go on the information that you provide to us. Um, Typically, there may be some searches that we can do to try to find some information, but if we don't know where to start, then us finding the information is a little more difficult without hiring experts to do so. So, of course, the obvious is going to be real property. That's land, anything attached to land. Um, you're going to look at mineral interests. Both of those are pretty easy to find. Usually the real property and the mineral interest are recorded in the county clerk's office property records. Then you have, of course, your vehicles, boats, airplanes, cycles, mobile homes, trailers, recreational vehicles. Um, those are all valued usually using an online method like Kelley Blue Book. Um, there are some other, let me see about them. There's a website called Black Book that can actually give you like antique car values, motorcycle power sport values, recreational vehicle values. There's also nada.com that can give you some values. Some other benefits are going to be retirement benefits. You want to make sure and get all information on you and your spouse's retirement. You want to look and see if we have a defined benefit or an IRA, military benefits. We want to check out those. We want to see if there's any union benefits, any insurance or annuity benefits. Is there anybody that owes you or your spouse any money? You want to get information on that. Your insurance, you want to make sure you look for life, any annuities, any health saving accounts or medical saving accounts. Those are usually some benefits through the employer where you can prepay. There's also prepaid childcare that's available with some employers, so you want to make sure and get any information on those. You want to get a good inventory of household furnishings and fixtures. So there's all kinds of apps that you can download to your phone and go around taking pictures of everything and get values if you can. If you have anything that's, antique, you want to make sure and note those. Electronics and computers. Once again, you can use the inventory app and I would suggest if you can get serial numbers, get as much information on these items as you can um, when you're preparing for divorce. Antiques, artwork collections, artwork. There's a lot of artwork and collections that you may have, either appraisals that have been done on any of these, or you've got a certificate of value whenever you purchase them. I know that sometimes with artwork you'll get that. So you want to make sure and collect and have copies of all of those. And I would suggest that you scan all the information in and try to get it as digital as possible, especially right now, so that it's easier to send to your attorney. I know at the Boswell Law Firm we are paperless and digital, and so we like for everything to come to us through digital means. Sporting goods and firearms, you want to make sure that you get a good list of that. Once again, that inventory app can be very useful in this. Livestock, you're going to want to make sure that you get the type, age, anything that's going to help with getting some valuations on livestock issues. Club memberships. So there's some value in any memberships that you have to clubs. This could include country clubs, yacht clubs, anything like that. We'll want to make sure that we have that information for the divorce. Any travel or award benefits. So this would be if you have something that was already prepaid, then you might want to list that. Any intellectual property, copyrights, trademarks, patents, we'll want information on that. Licenses, crops, all this stuff has value. Farm equipment, construction equipment. So licenses would be things that you go to the state and you get a license to do something. So these are all specialized. Obviously, if we have a farm, then you're going to want to get the value on that. Crops, what's the value on that? And you can use past information or past amounts that you've sold crops for. Farm equipment is going to be evaluated the same as a car or vehicle. Same for any kind of construction equipment. Any tools. Typically, if we have just general household tools, we'll put that in the household. But if we have specialized tools that have some value, especially tools that are used in employment, we'll definitely want to make sure that we list those out and identify them as tools that are used in employment. If you have any leases, this can be leases are, let's say that you have just a piece of land and you lease out for people to keep their livestock on it. That could be that. There's also some mineral leases that can be out there. Anything that basically you lease property and you're getting your value back. Prepaid cemetery plots. That's another one you want to make sure and get information on. Any gold or silver coins that you may have that are not part of a collection that you identify as a collection. Taxes. This is going to be any kind of expected returns. Those are able to be divided, and also any liabilities that are expected can be divided on divorce. Lottery tickets and winnings. That's pretty self-explanatory. We have stadium bonds, seat licenses. This is going to be more for some interest in other people's property. Seat options, season tickets to any kind of sporting events or anything else that may have season tickets, like Disney World, Disneyland. Some of those places have season tickets and those have value. We have any ranch brands that are out there, business names. A big one is going to be digital assets. We want to make sure we know all the email addresses, social media accounts, websites, domains. Do we have any digital media, pictures, movies, music, books, anything out there that's digitalized? And then we have virtual assets, which are, we get into some pretty specialized things here. So we have the MMORGPs, and honestly, my daughter's probably gonna be able to tell you a lot more about this kind of stuff than I am. But this is a massively multiplayer online role-playing game. We have virtual pets, we have avatars, we have accessories for characters and prizes. Pretty much every game that we play out there, there's in-app purchases. And so if there's money sitting out in these, that's something that we can actually talk about and divide. Big one is Bitcoin. A lot of people are buying Bitcoin and trying to hide some assets via Bitcoin. So that's an asset that's divisible just like anything else. You want to identify any safe deposit boxes and inventory of each box. If you have a storage facility, if so, you'll want to inventory that as well. A reimbursement claim, that comes into play when we have somebody that has a separate property, let's say house, and you move into that after marriage. That house remains separate property no matter what. But if you make any repairs to that house or you do remodeling on that house and you improve the value, then the community property actually has a reimbursement claim against the separate estate for those remodeling costs. And so that comes back into what we call the marital pot of assets, and then it's divided just like anything else. Are there any lawsuits that you have brought against somebody else or your spouse has brought? So let's say you had a car accident and there's a lawsuit pending. Then there could be some of those assets that are divisible. There's some that are strictly separate property, but there are some parts of the recovery in a lawsuit that are community property. The other thing you're going to want to do is start looking at your debts. So you want to go and you want to obtain a credit report. Everybody gets a free credit report one a year. I would suggest that everybody get their credit report each year to make sure that there's not anything on there that shouldn't be. You want to start gathering your credit card and charge account statements. Go back as far as you can, and then you want to collect them and get those to your attorney each month. Federal, state, and local taxes. You want to make sure that any tax invoices or statements that you get, you send to your attorney. Plus, you want to make sure that you get, as far back in income taxes as you can get. Another debt are going to be attorney fees for each party. Are there any other professional fees? Do we have to have an expert come in and testify? And those would be professional fees that would go in this. Any other liabilities, such as any other loans, any accounts, margin accounts, anything that's payable by the parties, you want to make sure and get as much information as you can on those. Separate property reimbursement claims against the community, it works the same way, just kind of the other way. And that's where somebody uses their separate property to improve the value of a community property asset. Any pledges that you've made to make payments. This can happen with charities where you say that you're going to pay a certain amount each month. We want to make sure we include those. Any contingent liabilities, so that's any lawsuit against either party, so husband or wife, or if there's any kind of a guarantee that it was signed by either spouse. And then we have some children's property that we'd want to look at, which would be any custodial accounts. So that's money that the children received for, it could be an inheritance, it could be from, maybe they were in a car accident and they got an award from that. Those can go into custodial accounts. And that's something that you would want to have dealt with in the divorce, as well as a 529 plan for college planning. You want to look and see if there's any trust and estate assets, so that those are characterized and accounted for. And then you want to make sure that you get any passwords to any kind of account. And I always caution everybody in the use of passwords. So if it's an account that your spouse has, if they've granted you permission to access it with a password, then it is 100% okay for you to access that. Now, if you go and you have not been given permission or been provided that password, then there's actually some liability that can come on you and some sanctions that can be imposed for accessing somebody's cell phone without their permission, or an online account that they haven't given you permission to do so. and you can also revoke that permission. So make sure that you're not going out there and trying to hack into accounts that you haven't been given permission to access, or else there can be some sanctions imposed. A common one is you basically don't get to use any of the information that you obtained by access to that account. So that's kind of a quick and dirty overview of some stuff that you'd want to start preparing yourself for and getting the information on that can be divided in divorce. And as always, if you have any question, feel free to reach out to me. And that would be, sorry, I had something pop up on my screen and it distracted me for a minute. But reach out to me. My email is Duana, Duana, and that's at Boswell Law Firm. I'm so sorry. My email is duana@boswelltexaslaw.com. That's Duana at Boswell, Boswell, TexasLaw.com. And you can also visit our website at www.boswelltexaslaw.com. Or if you prefer the phone, you can always give us a call at 832-919-6595. And we're always happy to provide you some information with no need to pay us. We'll do that for free, and there's no need for you to sign up for any of our service. We just like to make sure that everybody's got the education that they need so that they can protect themselves and move on to their positive outcome in their new lives. So thank you guys again, and have a great and wonderful and safe 4th of July, and we'll see you next week. Take care.